Breaking news that is shaking the very foundation of global security. Right at this exact moment, American warships, fighter jets, and secret military bases in the Middle East are being tracked. They are being hunted, but they are not just being watched by Iran. The biggest bombshell of the new war has just dropped. Highly classified sources reveal that Russia is secretly feeding real time pinpoint intelligence directly to the Iranian military. Moscow is giving Iran the exact coordinates of United States forces, helping them target American troops. Before this story goes any deeper, to get the unfiltered truth on this rapidly exploding global conflict, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. The world map is being rewritten today, and no one can afford to miss a single update as the facts come to light. The United States and Israel are currently locked in a massive, direct war with Iran. The skies over the Middle East are filled with fire, but behind the scenes, a terrifying new alliance has stepped out of the shadows. According to top intelligence sources and major reports just leaking out of Washington, the Russian government is actively using its advanced satellites and global spy networks to monitor the American military. They are watching the United States Navy. They are tracking the United States Air Force. And they are handing this deadly information straight over to Iranian commanders. To understand why this is so dangerous, one must look at the sky. Iran does not have a massive network of high-tech military satellites. Against the sheer power of the United States, Iran is mostly flying blind. But with Russia stepping in, everything changes. Suddenly, Iran has world-class eyes in the sky. This is a total game changer. When the conflict kicked off just days ago, the United States launched heavy strikes to take down Iranian defenses. But Iran is fighting back, and they are hitting American assets with a scary level of accuracy. Radars, defense systems, and ships are being targeted perfectly. Military experts were completely shocked at how precise the Iranian counterattacks have been. Now, the dark secret is finally out in the open. Russia is the hidden hand guiding those weapons. Moscow is not sending its own troops, but by sharing this top secret intelligence, Russia is making sure Iranian missiles know exactly where to land. This turns a regional war into a dangerous proxy battle between nuclear superpowers, putting countless lives on the line. Let us look at exactly what is happening in the shadows. Russia operates some of the most advanced spy satellites on the planet. These floating cameras and sensors can see through clouds, track ships across oceans, and intercept radio signals from thousands of miles away. Usually, Russia keeps this priceless data tightly locked up inside the Kremlin. But now, they have opened the vault for Iran. The reports coming in suggest that Russian intelligence officers are communicating directly with Iranian generals. They are looking at digital maps and telling Iran the American warship is exactly here. The jet is taking off exactly now, and the radar system is positioned in this exact spot. This is not just a rumor. This is the terrifying reality of the new battlefield. Why would Russia take such a massive risk? Why would they poke the American military in such a dangerous way? The answer is simple: revenge and distraction. For a long time, the United States and its allies have been supplying weapons, money, and intelligence to help Ukraine fight against Russia. Moscow has been bleeding in that conflict. Now Russia sees the perfect chance to strike back without firing a single bullet from its own weapons. By helping Iran target American forces, Russia gets to hurt the United States while pretending their hands are completely clean. It is a deadly game of chess, and American soldiers are the ones standing on the board. This secret alliance creates a giant nightmare for military planners in Washington. The United States military is the strongest force on earth, built to fight any enemy head on. But how do you fight an enemy that is using another superpower's eyes? If an American aircraft carrier moves to a new position in the sea to stay safe, the Russian satellites instantly spot it. Within minutes, that new location is sent to Tehran, and Iranian missiles are programmed with the new target. The shield of surprise is completely gone. The advantage of moving in the dark has vanished. American commanders now have to assume that every single move they make is being watched, recorded, and sent directly to the people trying to destroy them. This changes every single battle plan the military has. It means that nowhere is truly safe. When a missile is fired from Iran, it is no longer just a lucky shot in the dark. It is a calculated strike, guided by some of the most expensive and sophisticated technology the Russian government owns. The American defense systems are now working overtime, trying to block weapons that know exactly where the weak spots are. The panic inside the Pentagon right now is absolutely real. Behind closed doors in Washington, top generals and defense officials are scrambling to deal with this massive intelligence leak. Imagine being a military planner and realizing that the sky itself has betrayed you. The United States government has not officially announced this on live television just yet, but the whispers leaking from intelligence circles are deafening. They know exactly what Russia is doing. They have tracked the signals. They have seen the data transfers. The proof is sitting on the desks of the highest officials. And the biggest question echoing through the halls of power right now is, what on earth does America do about it? If the United States directly attacks Russian spy satellites, that is an open act of war against a nuclear armed country. That is the absolute quickest way to start a global world war. But if the military does nothing, American ships and troops remain sitting ducks, exposed to Iranian missiles guided by Russian tech. It is a terrifying, impossible choice. Moscow knows exactly how tight of a corner they have pushed Washington into. They are operating right in the gray zone, doing enough to cause massive damage, but hoping it is not quite enough to trigger a direct war with America. This also drags Israel into a much more dangerous situation. Israel is fighting alongside the United States, defending against the exact same Iranian threats. If Russia is feeding the exact locations of American forces, it is guaranteed they are handing over the coordinates of Israeli defenses as well. The missile batteries, the secret air bases, the command centers, all of it is being exposed from space. This alliance between Moscow and Tehran is supercharging the threat level across the entire Middle East. It is no longer just a regional fight, it is a global showdown. The rules of war have just been rewritten in real time. The world is watching a new kind of modern warfare where information is just as deadly as a bomb. Russia is handing Iran the ultimate weapon, which is total visibility. The exact truth of where the targets are, the truth of how they are moving, and the truth of how to hit them perfectly. Right now, the most powerful military in the world is desperately trying to figure out how to hide from an enemy that can see absolutely everything. Think about the young men and women stationed on American warships right now. A United States aircraft carrier is normally a floating fortress, considered the most untouchable piece of military machinery ever built. These massive ships stay safe by constantly moving across the open ocean. They are practically invisible to countries that do not have global tracking networks. But that advantage has just been erased. Imagine being a sailor on one of those ships today. You know that somewhere above your head, a Russian satellite has its lens zoomed right in on your deck. You cannot shoot that satellite down without starting World War III. But because of that camera in the sky, a swarm of Iranian drones or a deadly missile is being programmed with your exact real-time coordinates. This is the impossible situation the United States military is facing tonight. The defense systems on these ships are incredible, but they are designed to stop blind attacks. They were never meant to fight off weapons perfectly guided by a rival superpower. When Iran fires a missile now, it is not guessing where the American ship might be. It knows the missile is flying along a perfect path. This means American defense shields have to be 100% perfect every single time. If they fail even once, the results are catastrophic. This threat is not just on the water, it is happening on the ground too. The United States has military bases scattered across the Middle East for years. The exact locations of certain high-value bunkers and radar stations were kept totally hidden. But you cannot hide from a satellite that watches the Earth all day. Russia has mapped every single American outpost. They know exactly where the troops are sleeping, and they are handing that treasure map of targets directly to Iranian forces. For the commanders leading the American response, this is a living nightmare. Every time an American fighter jet takes off from a runway, Russian intelligence logs the time, tracks the flight path, and sends an alert to Tehran. Iranian air defenses are then perfectly prepared and waiting before the jet even gets close. The enemy sees absolutely everything. The pressure inside the White House has reached an absolute boiling point. Right now, behind the scenes, furious secret messages are being sent directly from Washington to Moscow. The United States government is warning Russia to back down immediately. They are telling the Kremlin that helping Iran target American soldiers is crossing a massive red line. But the Russian government is playing a very dangerous game of chicken with the most powerful military in history. They are testing the absolute limits of what America will tolerate before snapping, and the terrifying truth is that no one knows where that breaking point actually is. If a Russian satellite guides an Iranian missile that actually sinks an American warship, what happens next? If American troops lose their lives because Moscow handed over the exact coordinates to Tehran, the United States cannot just ignore it. That would be an act of war by proxy. The military commanders would demand an immediate, devastating response. They would have to strike back to show the world that targeting American forces has a deadly price. But striking back against Russia means triggering a nightmare scenario that every world leader has tried to avoid for decades: a direct clash between two nuclear superpowers. This is the razor-thin wire the entire world is walking on today. Iran is pulling the trigger, but Russia is aiming the gun. And because of this, the entire Middle East is sitting on a massive powder keg with a lit match hovering right above it. Every single day that this secret intelligence sharing continues, the risk of a global war skyrockets. Analysts and defense experts are watching the situation with absolute dread. They know that one lucky hit by Iran, one single missile slipping through the American defense shields, could change the course of human history in an instant. The United States military is rushing to find a solution. They are trying to jam Russian satellite signals. They are using advanced electronic warfare to blind the spy cameras and scramble the data before it ever reaches Tehran. But it is a desperate race against time. Electronic warfare is incredibly difficult, and Russia has spent billions perfecting their own systems to protect their satellites. The skies have turned into an invisible battlefield of radio waves, lasers, and encrypted codes. While the world watches the explosions on the ground, the real war is happening in space and on computer screens. Determining who lives and who dies below, the shock waves of this secret alliance are crashing into every corner of the globe. This is no longer just a standoff between the United States, Israel, Iran, and Russia. The entire world economy is suddenly caught in the crossfire. The Middle East is the beating heart of the global energy supply. Thousands of massive cargo ships pass through narrow, dangerous waters near the Iranian coast every day. Because Russia is feeding Iran perfect intelligence, those civilian ships are sitting ducks. If Iran decides to block the ocean, they do not have to guess where the massive oil tankers are. They know exactly where to strike to paralyze the planet. If that happens, the price of gas and survival will skyrocket overnight. The stock markets will crash, and ordinary people will feel the devastating pain of this shadow war. But the danger goes much deeper than money. American allies are watching this nightmare unfold with total horror. The United Kingdom and France know that if the United States military is perfectly targeted by Russian space weapons, their own troops are completely defenseless. The shield of Western dominance has been pierced. Because of this, Allied commanders are holding emergency meetings. They are rushing to figure out how to fight an enemy that has a permanent cheat code. If Russia can hand Iran the keys to destroying American warships, what stops them from doing the exact same thing for North Korea? What stops them from giving perfect satellite data to terror groups? This is Pandora's box being ripped wide open. The rules of global security have just been thrown into a shredder. The United States military is rushing advanced missiles to the desert, trying to build an iron wall against incoming fire. But a wall does not stop the person watching from the sky. Every time a new defense is rolled out, a Russian satellite plogs it, alerts Tehran, and Iran adjusts its aim. So it is an endless loop of cat and mouse, and the stakes have never been higher. The clock is ticking louder than ever in Washington tonight. The United States military is facing the absolute greatest challenge of the modern age. A secret partnership between Russia and Iran has completely destroyed the old rules of global warfare. This is no longer just a story about missiles flying across the desert. It is a terrifying story about the skies above being weaponized against American troops. For generations, the United States stood as the undisputed master of the world, protected by the best military technology ever built. But that mighty armor has now been cracked wide open. By sharing its most classified satellite data, Moscow has given Tehran the ultimate weapon, the ability to see absolutely everything. Every single American military base, every single floating warship, and every single fighter jet is now operating under the watchful eye of Russian intelligence. The troops stationed in the Middle East are sleeping right in the crosshairs of a fake, terrifying new alliance. This massive shift changes the daily reality for every single general. If America decides to strike back directly at Russia's spy satellites, the entire planet could instantly plunge into worlds. War 3. But if America does nothing, its soldiers remain sitting ducks for Iranian weapons perfectly guided by Russian coordinates. There is no safe way out of this deadly trap. The days of hidden troop movements are officially over. The world has entered a dark chapter of history where digital information beamed from space is the absolute deadliest weapon on Earth. The lines between a contained regional conflict and that a global nuclear standoff have been completely erased. All it takes is one perfectly guided missile, one single direct hit on an American aircraft carrier, and the world as it is known today will change forever. This is the ultimate breaking point. The final test of American military power is unfolding right now in the shadows. The truth of this secret war is terrifying, but it absolutely must be told. The next move in this deadly game of chess will determine the fate of the entire free world. Make sure to stay subscribed to this channel because this is the place bringing you the exact unfiltered reality of this massive crisis. The second it breaks, the storm is no longer just coming. The storm is already here.